I am joined by David Gatens and Stedders, and we're going to talk all about the last few games. We're going to start with the home game against Farsley Celtic and an easy win in the end. What did you think, guys?
Yeah, well, it was easy in the end. They're struggling down at that end of the table, but nice. And another Kelsey Mooney hat trick sealed the deal for Boston and tries and just gets us in set for that playoff push at the end of the season.
It does. And what
Yeah,
I found was um, quite early in the game, there was a save from Cameron Gregory. He made a save at his feet.
hmm
And from then on, the defence just seemed to grow in confidence along with Cameron Gregory. And that sort of went to the rest of the team. And you just didn't feel like they were going to lose at all at that afternoon, did you?
No, like the confidence in the players. I have to say, I've been impressed by, especially that man Ethan Sefton. To be honest, I was a bit negative about him at the start of the season, and I know he's had his injuries to be fair, but he's really come on a lot, and especially playing against these big leaders like Boswick and even Nicholson. I was a bit critical of him earlier on, but now he's sort of coming into the light a bit. They're stepping up when needed, which is the right thing, and it's good because it's the right time of the season where we need to be getting these points and rising up that table and see how far we can get and hopefully get that home quarter final or maybe even the semi final. We'll have to see.
Well, yeah, let's hope so. I mean, Stedders, you were listening to it, weren't you, on the radio? So what did you make of it?
yeah. Well, obviously the reverse fixture we got beat, didn't we? So Creighton Donaldson did us over at their own place, didn't they? So I'm sure this was one that the management team earmarked to say we can't let that happen again and then get the double over us. One thing I have noticed this season is that's what Boston's doing. Boston's are picking up points against teams that probably they don't usually do. But that Farsley game would definitely have been a highlighted one to say, lads, we can't let that happen again. We need the three at home. The JCS is coming to a bit more of a fortress again now, isn't it? The home
It
form's
is.
turning around again after the two obviously blips in the season that we had back to back at home. Hopefully they won't prove too much deficit come the end of the season. But yeah, they did us over at their place, so it would definitely been a one that the management team would have said, "Not this time, boys." And luckily for us, our strikers are in red hot form at the minute, aren't they? So
And what do you think's changed all of a sudden for to be in such good form? Because we had them two defeats at home and really seemed to be struggling to play well as well. And then all of a sudden now something's clicked and
Well, I sort of believe this. People have been negative about this hybrid system, but it does have its positives, and I believe this is one of them. The extra time on the 3G outside the ground, the hours that they get in there, the set piece routines, as you see the other day, there's some decent defending going off. Then we're not conceding like we were to these big, strong aerial like teams, basically. And yeah, it could also be the confidence in these young players. Sometimes these young players can have their confidence shot, but once they get going, I don't think they'll ever stop. And that's what I believe is the difference in this Boston team from many other years. You could question the ambition and things, but if as it's there, like the squad is younger, you can sort of feel that the desire's there, and there's just something different about this year. And I believe that's what it's due to. I think.
yeah, I totally agree. What I actually think is as well is it's a switch in the usual squad which they usually go through. Usually it's heavily dependent on experienced players sprinkled with youth. This time it's the opposite way around. These guys are fearless. Some of these guys in front of goal. But like the likes of, we say it every week, whoever stands near me, and sorry if you're watching this and you stand near me, but if the likes of Martin Woods, if he plays, we look like so much of a different side, don't we? He just
yeah.
gives us that experience blend, that knowledgeable head around the other youngsters and more flair players. It's fair to say, but some of the inclusions of these guys and the spine of the team has been absolutely fantastic most of the season, barring the Tom Leake injury, which we've got at the moment, who obviously would be playing if he was fit. The spine's been fantastic and they've kept with it. And the other thing is gelling time, isn't it? These guys, like I say, just hybrid theory. It takes time for things like this to work. People were questioning at the start of the season, is hybrid right for us? But everything needs time and patience. And time and patience has proved very well for us this season. Like you say, after a decent start, I think we had. And then obviously the blips have come and gone. And hopefully they've gone for the rest of the season, touch wood. But yeah, I think the gelling of the team and the experienced heads alongside the youthfulness, I think it's very exciting times.
Of course. And I thought against Farsley as well, I thought Sam Smart had a really good game. You know, he seemed to be running his socks off, creating a lot of chances. Obviously, Kelsey Mooney got man of the match for obvious reasons. But what did you think of Sam Smart in the game?
Yeah, that's the thing about especially Deji and Sam Smart. It's sort of a plan B. It adds a different complexity to the game. We can either play it through the middle if we like with the well, they're not long balls, but like the balls played through the lines, Kelsey Mooney and Jimmy Knowles to run onto. But also we can get those crosses in the box and play sort of well, it's with wingers, isn't it? So it's just mixes it up a bit, and it can confuse our opposition managers as we've seen this far. And it just adds that different bit of, oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And it's been working, to be fair. Again, and normally against the bigger, stronger sides, we normally employ the wing play system with the wingers, especially Satona and Smart. They just sort of take the ball off the full back off J-Row and even Sefton and just run down that side and get the ball in the box, which is how you hurt these teams. Low, fast balls across the box, and hopefully Mooney and Knowles are there. And judging by their scoring records, they certainly are at the moment.
Absolutely. And of course, on Saturday, we move on to that game. You went to Chorley, and you guys went there, didn't you? And another brilliant victory, unexpected. I'll be honest. I was expecting possibly a draw, as best, because they were on a good run, weren't they? 7 games unbeaten, 7 victories in a row. But Boston went there and took them apart.
Absolutely, and to be honest with you, that first half performance is probably the best half they've played all season. We went up to South Shields, me and David, and they played very well up there as well, may I say. But a different kind of dogged performance where they had to dig in for a little bit, especially conceding later on in the game after going 2-0 up. But this one, Damo, was absolutely unreal. The first half, they just split them apart. Anytime that they managed to cut balls through from the midfield to the front two, they just couldn't live the front two's pace. The pace and the width that they give us. And that is the other thing about what David was just saying. The width in the side has never been better. We've never used the width or wider players as much as we do now. And the likes of Gyro and Ethan Sefton at the minute, just managing to get past their last man and deliver quality into the box. It's delivering us so many more goals, isn't it? Sefton set up again an assist on Saturday. Just gone at Chorley, which will do his confidence the world of good after such a plagued injury start to the season.
And what did you think of the performance, David?
Yeah, well, like I echo Tom. Really, it was the strongest, in my opinion, I've seen Boston. I've been to a few games, and yeah, that's one of the strongest Boston performances I've ever seen. Like the way that we went there, full of confidence. You could see it from minute one. The fans were up for it. The players were certainly up for it, especially with conceding that penalty. It didn't phase us, and it's just when we get the 3 goals after Tom said we cut them a half in the first half. Really, I don't know if that was an error on their management side or anything, but we just take it as it is, and you can only play what's in front of you, really. And yeah, we just had to really sit back, limit the chances. They did get that penalty through Brad Nicholson, which it was a penalty, to be fair. He should have given it in a referee. That was one of his decisions that he got right. He made other wrong ones in the afternoon. But yeah, even after that, the penalty miss just sort of let us off a bit, and we just kept playing our stuff, kept attacking. And then we had the substitutions of Movo, who was a great talking point for Saturday. He was... that his loan spell. I know he's played in Step 3 this season, but he's just come in and he in that midfield with Dylan Hill and Martin Woods. You've just got Martin Woods in the centre, sort of playing as a sweeper, picking the ball up and passing it out to the 2 runners, which is interesting because Mohovo normally operates, I believe, a bit more defensively, but he didn't look out of place. And then once he came off, we rang, I think, Jassy on for him. Jassy, you know what you're going to get. He doesn't stop running, bless him. He'll keep going until he gets that chance. And then by the end of that time, it was the end of the game and we sealed the 3 points.
I did manage to watch
barring
the
a massive
game.
rainstorm as well. Did you manage to watch it as well, David?
I did manage to watch the game on TV, and I've got to agree with you, really. It was another game, like I said, about against Farsley, that, again, Boston didn't look like losing, and it was pretty much the same, really, against Chorley. You know, as the game went on, Chorley didn't seem as that there was something missing from them. You know, they've been playing so well up to that game. I don't know whether the fans went there or they expected to win because they were on such good form before the game. But there was something missing from them. But Boston took full advantage of it. I mean, the penalty miss, it was an awful penalty, to be fair. I couldn't believe he missed it. But it was an really perfect performance. And you mentioned Movo as well. I was talking to Joe Simpson, the assistant manager, a few weeks back, and he was saying that that he'd played down at Boston before Movo for Notts County, and apparently he played really well in that. He caught the eye of the Boston coaches, and Notts County do think a lot of him. So he's definitely going to be one for the future.
Oh yeah, he definitely showed signs of that for sure. Yeah, just our Jude Bellingham, mini David. That's what we think. That's for sure. But anyway, But barring that penalty, you watched the stream yourself, Damo. Barring that penalty, we really restrict them to long range shots.
Yeah,
and maybe just also point out that Cam Gregory made 3 brilliant saves in the second half as well. One with his legs, one tipping over the bar, which was critical as well. Because any kind of sniff into the back of the game, the Chorley would have been back in at 3-1, wouldn't they?
that's right.
And what confidence boost that must be for Cam going into the next game as well. After fair dues to him, he does come back in after a long-term injury, but conceded quite a few goals in his first few games back.
He did, and he got a little bit of flack as well, didn't he, for it? Obviously we'd been spoilt with Aaron Chapman in goal, really, for a few games, and he'd kept 4 clean sheets in a row as well. And then obviously Gregory, who is the player under contract, came back in and conceded all them goals. And I suppose it was quite difficult for him, even though both Chapman and Gregory knew the situation. They all knew what was going to be happening. But obviously it was hard for Gregory to come back in and sort of reclaim that number 1 spot, wasn't it?
Yeah, like you say, we've really been spoiled. I know we've had trouble with our goalkeepers over the year, and this year it was a real shot to the gut when it was announced that Chapman was leaving after that great performance on a Tuesday night. I can't pick out who it was against, but he made a couple of good saves. He was immense to do what he'd done, to come in and just help this side get there, do what they want to do. Big performances, Scunthorpe away, great. That Kings Lynn, even he just added a bit more against the bigger teams in this league. He didn't even have to jump for the ball. He just claims it out of the air, and it just instilled us with lots of safety at the back. Especially you could see that with Nicholson and Boswick and Leake at that time playing in front. But yeah, it was sad when he had to leave. But Gregory has come back in and got back to his normal form, let's say. We're very lucky to have him here at Boston United.
We are. And obviously we can't take away the fact against Chorley as well that Jimmy Knowles did score another hat-trick. So, it's just amazing at the moment the way the strikers are playing, isn't it, really?
It sure is. And not just that, Damon, but the not score it early on in the season. I think we was trying to score perfect goals, good goals. We were scoring some belters. End of season, goal of the season this season is going to be ridiculous. You look at some of the contenders that have been put out already. Honestly, some of them have been fantastic. But now we're scoring the ugly goals. We're getting the 2-yard tap-ins. I mean, Jimmy Knowles' hat-trick was by no means a masterpiece, was it? But it was all clinical. That was the point, weren't it?
Yeah.
Especially goal number 2, where he just nicked in at the back post there in between them 2 defenders who were caught daydreaming really on the goal line, weren't they? And he just nicked that one in for that second one to grab his brace. But he's in red hot form, and the fact that the other thing we've got to really consider as well is that we're not even thinking about him for player of the season, which is absolutely bonkers. Because we've got so many players that could get that award this season. Which I'm sure we'll probably talk about later on in other episodes as well.
Yeah.
Who deserves to get that? But we've got so many good players who could get that, and the fact that Jimmy Knowles probably didn't even enter that conversation is pretty insane, isn't it?
It is really. And obviously, one more bonus from last week's game was the fact that Zach Mills and Tom Leake were both on the bench once again for Boston. So they're obviously just coming back now from injury, which just strengthens the team even more.
Yeah, like you say, you need that strength and depth now. It's coming back at the right time, which is definitely pivotal at this stage of the season. You just need areas just in case something goes wrong. I hope it doesn't, touch wood, it doesn't. And like players of Zach Mills' quality. We've had Jay Rose step in. We were like, oh, Zach Mills is going to leave a big hole. But then the recruitment this year has been insane. I have to say that pickup of Jay Rowe, probably signing of the season for me, even though he's not played that long. Like, to be fair, his performances, he's about an 8 out of 10 every week, and you don't get bar the red card, which was a questionable red card on a Tuesday night. I can't remember who that was against as well. But yeah, you just have to think this, especially again, Nicholson, sorry, at the back. He's done a good job shifting from left centre back to left back all season, trying to put holes in for Sefton and holding that line. And yeah, he's done a good job. But Leek has also played a lot this season and been part of our success this year. And yeah, I hope they come back. And I don't know if they deserve to go straight back in the side, because we're playing that well at the moment. And yeah, we just have to see what happens. I think you have to push them in a bit and get them involved in the squad, getting some minutes, and then maybe even just give it off reward. See, well, obviously they're going to assess who's going to be better in the training sessions, and you just have to make it decide based on that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Maybe it also goes on who we're playing against as well. Different teams pose different threats, don't they? How they're going to play X, Y, Z. So it might depend on that as well. And then we haven't even mentioned Jacob Hazel yet, have we? You know, the fact that we've got him to come back as well to try. I'm going to say try and emphasise the word try and break himself back into that front three at the minute, which is absolutely insane to think that he's still got to come back. But he could be an absolute pivotal part in this playoff push, because if you need a goal at 15 or 20 minutes left and you've got Jacob Hazel on your bench, he could be an absolute asset come them further games down the line.
Yeah, and it was just last week, actually, last Friday, I believe, that Boston United actually put a post out on X showing Jacob Hazel back training with the lads, you know, starting his training back on the pitch again. So shouldn't be long till he's back in the team again, I would imagine.
We're hearing rumbling rumours. We have got some pretty good sources out there.
Right.
The Brackley game is the one that they're earmarking, but viewers and folks, don't take that as complete gospel and come knocking on my door if I'm wrong. All right.
No, so fingers crossed. So yeah, that would be good to see. So, well, I mean, this Friday we've got Peterborough Sports at home. You know, a Good Friday game at the Gatens Community Stadium. They're not doing too badly this season. Away from home, they've won 7, drawn 5, lost 8. So yeah, they're having an adequate season away from home.
Yeah, well, you just got to think. You look at the managers in Michael Gash and Luke Steele. They're plenty of National North experience, and you can sort of tell how they're going to play. I believe they've got Kane Felix on their books and a few more ex-Pilgrims. So, and Matt Tootle, who I remember he scored on Saturday, apparently their goal of the season from outside the box. So that's another former Pilgrim to worry about. But yeah, I believe they're from watching on National League TV that they're a very, very direct side, and we just got to stand up to everything that they try and put in the box, and hopefully not concede to Michael Gash again as we usually do.
Definitely. I mean, we've had in head-to-head has been 4 matches between the two clubs, and it's 1 win each and 2 draws. So hopefully we can take the lead on the wins.
Yeah, hopefully home form will come to fruition this time, but a very potential banana skin game, this one. Hopefully a game that we can take on, though, and just really, like I say, minimise their aerial threat, because it will be direct from them. They're not going to play much football on the ground, but hopefully backed by a really big crowd, which, by the sounds of it, which we're hoping to get on Good Friday, we can steer them onto another 3 points. But yeah, absolute potential banana skin this game. So it's up to Boston to bring out all the positives from these last 2 performances. And of course, a very quick turnaround as well, Damien. We've only got a couple of days before the next game as well. So in theory, they're preparing for 2 games at once, aren't they?
That's it, yes. Just quickly going back to Friday, we've got obviously kids for a quid as well. So anyone that's thinking of going down to Boston, you know, it's children to pay £1 with a paying adult. There's going to be free clappers given out to the children, which should be fun. give a bit of an atmosphere, won't it? And Easter
Might get
eggs
on
as
my
well.
nerves. Might get on my nerves, David.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But no, definitely. Hopefully, we'll get a big crowd down there to cheer the Pilgrims on. Fingers crossed. But yeah, Monday then it's on to Farsley, on to Rushall Olympic rather, and yeah, another big game. A couple of ex-Pilgrim players as well. Going to be in the team for Rushall. So yeah,
Yeah, I believe there's another big following on that bank holiday Monday. I believe MS Events are taking 2 buses, Boston United Supporters Association, and I just back to Boston United Supporters Association. Yeah, I recognise everything they're doing, but they've done a great job this season with
they
raising
have.
their money for the target. And I didn't want to appear like a millionaire against them, but I'm not so sure about the clappers. But I'm sure it'll get some people involved, especially in that West Stand where it struggles to get a bit of atmosphere sometimes. And just hopefully they're not too annoying. That's all I'm worried about. But yeah,
No, no.
moving on to Rushall, should be a good following there. I think they're redeveloping their ground at the moment, so I think it's capped at a certain capacity. They're doing that for this Friday against Darlington, I believe. But we'll just have to see how we turn up and hopefully create a bit of atmosphere and drive the lads on to another 3 points in this very, very pivotal game at the end of the season.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well,
Two teams, sorry, to come up, isn't it? It's Rushall, isn't it? And obviously Banbury. They're going to be the two that are going to be fighting for their lives. Obviously, the Banbury game's now been moved to the back end of the season in that last week as well, hasn't it? But again, Rushall, again, a team Boston's still got to be careful of, still got to do the defensive and due diligence on, and make sure that they're going to put in professional performance over there again. But I think, we know what kind of form we can be in. If we hit full form, there's no reason why we can't get another 2 wins out of 2 for me.
no, brilliant. Well, looking forward to both games. Hopefully, we'll get a good crowd at both games and cheer the Boston on for 2 wins. David, Stedders, thank you very much for your time. And yeah, we'll catch up again very soon.
Up the Pilgrims.
Up the Pilgrims, guys. Cheers. Thank you.